Hey, good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Excellent. I'm Mindy Peterson. I'm Public Involvement Director at Parsons, working on this project. I'm just going to do a little housekeeping, let you guys know what to expect today, and then I'm going to hand off to these gentlemen, Danny Corbin, who is the project manager with INDOT, Toby Randolph, project manager with Parsons. They're going to get into all of the details, meat and potatoes, what to expect with Contract 2 with this project. But a couple of things. We're also going to hear from a few other folks today. We're going to hear from Nathan on district projects. We're going to hear about DBE services. We're going to hear about workforce development. So we do have lots of comments today. The other thing that I want to set the stage for is there's a second microphone over there. That one's not for me. It's not for these guys. That one is for you. So at the end of this, when we get through the presentation, if you want to come forward and say who you are, what firm you're with, what you do, what type of services you offer, if you're a DBE, it's entirely up to you if you want to do this. It's a great chance just to say, hey, this is who I am, this is what I want to, this is what I do. If you want to connect with me, hey, look at my face now, come see me in the hallway afterwards. So it's a short 30, 60-second elevator speech. Think now about what you want to say, and we'll facilitate that after the presentation. And with that, I'm going to hand things off to Dan. Danny's going to tell us a little bit more about I-70.
Okay. I think you can hear me? Yes. All right, so we'll go over the agenda here. We're going to talk about the project overview, Contract 2, the procurement information, district projects as well, and then, like we said, the DBE Supportive Services and Indiana Construction Roundtable Foundation. I'm really excited about the district projects one, so it's actually really cool slides and work. So anyway. Project overview. So a lot of you have been involved or have seen the overall Revive I-70. Yes, no, maybe, kind of, for the most part. Yes, okay. So Revive I-70 is improving I-70 all the way through Wayne County. Our idea here is that we're going to reduce congestion, we're going to improve traffic flow and improve safety. You all have driven this on the way out here, I'm assuming. It does need help, it does need a lot of work, and so that's why we asked you to come here, was to be part of the solution as we go through and move forward with the these Contract 2. The whole project, Revive I-70, runs all the way from roughly State Road 1 to the Indiana-Ohio state line. Contract 1 is currently under contract and moving forward. That goes from roughly US 35 to the state line. We'll talk about that in a minute. But then this project is the one that we're here to talk about, which is the US State Road 1 up to Centerville Road exit. So a roughly 9 miles project. Here's our project broken into the three contracts for the overall program. And we'll see here. Aha, there we go. I'll go back. So we have Contract 1 under contract right now, moving forward, added travel lanes from roughly US 35 to the state line, US 40. Then we have Contract 2, which is what we're here to talk about today, which is the pavement rehabilitation from State Road 1 to Centerville Road exit. And then we have the third contract here that will be forthcoming in 2027 for the roughly 3.5 miles between the two contracts in order to give us a buffer between the two contracts. So this is overall Revive I-70. This is the timeline for the project. As we talked about, Contract 1 is under construction. We're going to be you'll start to see some preliminary work out there still this fall on Contract 1. That'll be in order to have prep work for patching, things like that, to make sure that we are keeping the facility in a state of good repair leading into the added travel lanes projects for Contract 1. And then you're going to see that this fall still an advertisement to come out for Contract 2 in October for the pavement rehabilitation work. And then in February, cost proposals will be due in February of 2025 for Contract 2. And then work starting in roughly end of 25, early 26 for Contract 2 would be the anticipation for that work there. And then into 2027 for Contract 3, and then a majority of the work being done in 29 for Contracts 1, 2, and then into 30 for Contract 3 potentially. But that'll be yet to be finalized as we move into the next year. This is kind of a rough scope of what each one of the projects has. Like I said, Contract 1, ATL. Contract 2, the one that we're here to talk about, is a pavement rehabilitation. The biggest thing with that one is that, we're giving a design build alternative for the procurement there, and we are identifying 3 different pavement solutions for teams to bid on. There is an ATC process with that though too, so for those of you who have been through that, you know that you can provide alternatives to what we've already prescribed in the scope of services, and we review that and determine whether or not those things are going to be identified or accepted into the contract. And then contract 3 is anticipated to also be a pavement rehabilitation, but we're still working out the scope on that as funding is made available to us. As we all know, we're coming into a budget year, so let's roll the dice and see what we end up having when it comes to the contract 3. But right now we're planning on a pavement rehabilitation for that contract 3 as well to tie into contract 2 and contract 1. The contract is a design build contract. That's for all 3 are planned to be design build contract, alternative procurement for those pieces. How many in here have done design build projects before? For the most part, everybody for the most part, there we go. So in a design build contract, right, it's kind of a, you guys give us the best solutions, innovation. We give you a scope of services and a boundary to work in, I'll say, right? We give you the bumper rails in which to work in. You give us the overall best design solution in the end, and we work together as a collaborative team to get the best, most efficient and innovative project out into the streets to the benefit of our fellow citizens. So that's the plan and the method that we're going to go about procurement for contract 1 and contract 2, and as well for contract 3. Here's a little bit about contract 1. It was awarded as a joint venture earlier this year, earlier this summer, to Walsh Kreider Reith Riley JV. Construction is going to begin this fall with some temporary or with some preliminary patching works, and then we have the substantial completion in 28 and final completion in 29. So that's the plan for contract 1. Oh, you just take that. You're going to sit down.
All right, contract 2 then. I'll get into the specifics of this contract. So this one includes the pavement rehabilitation and some bridge improvements along the 9 miles in the corridor. We are looking to advertise this month in October, and the letting being in early 2025, February specifically of next year, with construction starting next fall. Substantial completion matches up with contract 1 of 2028, the fall of that, and then any kind of final acceptance if it has to go into the next year in 2029. So just a little bit about the estimated quantities here. We summarized the square yards of road rehabilitation. You can see the numbers here. I'm not going to read them off. As far as replacing the under drains as well, new signage, lighting, and pavement markings, of course, with the new pavement will be required as well. So the MOT is maintain 2 lanes in each direction. There will be some waivers for closures to do what's needed as far as patching or pre-work for MOT, etc. But the gist of it is 2 11-foot lanes with 2-foot offset shoulders for the entire contract. We will start off with a 5-mile-long maximum work site at this contract as well, and of course design to the current standards. We have developed a TMP to a certain point that you guys, or the design build team, will take over from there and start and finish the coordination on that front. Splier and aggregate, same thing as what we did on contract 1. We tried to open it up and be more flexible with some of these specifications, even allowing some of the Ohio approved aggregates to be used on these jobs. So this will be the same for this one here. And materials and tests will be involved if necessary. And those questions, feel free during the procurement at all to ask questions on materials and specs and things, so we can get them lined out and approved beforehand, before the job even starts. Full cap approval of all aggregate source. Hope to have accelerated approval of that stuff, and like I said, submit your questions, etc. So for the roadway improvements, this is your typical section. It's the existing and in, of course, the proposed, your 2 12-foot lanes in each direction with your typical 4-foot inside shoulder and 10-foot outside shoulder. So that's what we are putting back within the job. The inside shoulder reconstruction, partial outside shoulder reconstruction, we're not going to require the whole outside shoulder to be reconstructed, but a certain portion of it to do the under drain retrofit. That will replace the outside shoulder. There will be some pavement rehab on ramps, and most of that, beyond that, will be just HMA overlays on the ramps, similar to what we're doing on contract 1. Like Danny said, it's a low bid format. We have 3 pavement alternatives that will be part of the bid. Rubblized existing concrete with variable depth HMA overlay, patching with variable depth HMA overlay, or patching with variable depth unbonded concrete overlay. So I know these drawings are pretty basic, and a couple of them are exactly the same, but just to highlight, you need to go in the lobby and look at the board out there. Has a lot more detail of all the specifics of all 3 pavement designs. So go out there, take a picture of it, because I'm not going to bore you with every layer of HMA. Matt Taylor would do that if he was up here, but I am not going to do that because I'm not a pavement person. But there is a lot, and he's standing back there, just dying to talk. So the first one, the highlights here, rubblize the existing, and then overlay a lot of variable depth HMA here. You will have essentially on all options some kind of grade difference, and so you guys will have to account for anywhere from 3 to 5 to 6 inches of grade raise along the corridor due to these pavement options, so keep that in mind. The second one is the patching alternative. This does have some geotextile involved in it to do this. Again, getting the crown, getting the variable depth, and overlaying it. And then the unbonded concrete, basically, no patching, just do your HMA layer as a separation layer, and then do your new concrete on top of that. So those are the 3 options. We hope that the design build teams will come to us with even better options during the procurement process, that we can mull over and come up with the best pavement rehab option here that can be built along this corridor. So as far as the bridges, there's 6 mainline bridges that will have superstructure replacements, 1 overpass bridge that has a superstructure, and then 6 deck overlays along the corridor. Just a map showing where they are. They're mainly, from center to west along the corridor. Nothing fancy there. Even more detailed information on what exactly those improvements are. And then, like I said earlier, improved lighting, signage, pavement rehab, drainage improvements will be minor, but replacing and/or lining culverts, that will be the main gist of the drainage, and then anything we have to do for grading wise to get that grade change to work. And then, of course, upgrading all the guardrail. If you're changing grade on the main line, you're going to be changing the height of that guardrail or cable barrier, so cable barrier rail. So those will have to be all improved as well. So for the procurement, it is a low bid design build. You will get a contract information book that will have the scope of services, the RIDs, and your special provisions. So very typical, very same as contract 1 that came out. There will be an ATC process as well, and so we will allow 2 confidential one-on-one meetings. We allowed 3 for contract 1, but we don't think it's necessary on this one per se, so we're doing 2. Obviously, the proposer's questions and answers will be the same as usual. We want the technical proposal 18 days before the cost proposal. It will be a pass-fail for the technical proposal. There is a stipend, and then the cost proposal bid opening and selection, 18 days later. So the schedule here, like I said, October release and advertise, and then mandatory pre-bid as usual with these jobs. It'll be required November 20th, January 24th, technical proposals due, and in February the bid letting. And hopefully you guys whoever the winner is under contract in March and going. Some of the DBE activities here, you can see them here. I'm not going to read them off. A whole host of things that can be done on this job. and meet the DBE goals for the contract. And as always, a good website, the revivei70.com, for any information, update news, etc., tracking how contract 1's going, that kind of stuff will all be up here. So keep in touch with us, and we'll keep you updated. So unique about this industry forum is we're highlighting a lot of the district projects that are going on around here too that may interest you in addition to what we're doing on I-70. So I'm going to have Nathan Riggs from the Greenfield District give a little bit of update on those district projects.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me okay? Great. Again, my name is Nathan Riggs. I work for the Indiana Department of Transportation out of the Greenfield District in the Capital Program Management section. I'm a senior project manager, so I have my own portfolio of projects that you see on this map here. I also lead a team of other project managers, and together we divide, conquer, and produce the contracts that you all bid on. Obviously, we're here to talk about I-70, Revive I-70, and the work that's taking place from that Ohio-Wayne County corridor. I'm here to talk about everything else that's going on. So I might not be the popular one in the room, but I will be in the hallway with a lot of this information out there if anyone's interested in anything specific or just high-level conversations about what INDOT's doing here in East Central Indiana. I will touch on some of the highlights. In the Richmond area, we have wrapped up and are wrapping up some work on the US 27 and US 40 corridors. US 27 and US 40 were both, let me correct that. 27 was fully reconstructed north and southbound in the last few years. South A Street, eastbound 40 was reconstructed a few years ago, and we just did some minor structural overlays on North A, westbound 40. Just last year we did some additional paving work western Wayne County between Cambridge and Centerville. We've got ongoing bridge work right now on US 35, some small structures and bridges, State Road 38. So if you look at the map, we're trying to take care of a lot of the assets around I-70 to get them out of the way. And we're going to keep that going as I-70 works west. So we did Richmond in advance of contract 1. We've got a lot of work going on right now, preparing for contracts 2 and 3. And as you can see, this is just Wayne County, but we've got work all over East Central Indiana, the Greenfield District. Talking numbers, we've got about $120 million programmed right now, just for Wayne County alone, going out through about 2030. That averages about $20 million a year. And obviously those numbers are going to change. Post-COVID inflation, price escalation. INDOT is continuously monitoring its program and making adjustments with each letting as we move forward. So these dots may change, the numbers may change, the messaging may change, but come back to us. We're always going to be changing our messaging and providing the latest, greatest information. Some of these dots you may see on the letting list, the 18-month letting list. Some of these are a little bit earlier in development, and you'll see them coming down a little bit later. Obviously, we've got a lot of bridge projects programmed with the Whitewater Rivershed in East Central Indiana, plenty of bridge work. We've also got plenty of pavement and drainage structure projects. And also with the recent escalation and the push for traffic safety, we're going to be seeing some more innovative approaches to intersection improvements and things like that that we may have historically seen in more urban areas. We may be seeing some of those innovative options deployed in more rural areas, such as Wayne County. So a lot of stuff coming up. If you're interested in the specifics, find me or come get my contact information, and we'll talk. I'm glad that you're here. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you, Nathan. Okay, so any questions? District projects, Nathan is your guy. Find him. He'll answer all of your questions. A couple of things, too. I saw everybody looking at their handouts. That's fantastic. All of the information that you have today, the presentation deck, the handouts, everything is posted online at the website that Toby mentioned, revivei70.com. So feel free if you want to snap your photos of the boards, that's more than fine. Most of that's either copied in a handout or it's also available on the website already as well. So either or is fine. Also, now we're moving on to Zola. Very happy to have Zola here today. She is with INDOT DBE Supportive Services. Of course, DBE Supportive Services is dedicated to empowering those disadvantaged business enterprises, those DBEs that we talk about. Very important. We want to make sure that that we're providing them with the resources, guidance, opportunities they need to succeed in today's very competitive markets. So we're going to hear from Zola Lamoth, who is going to tell us about all of the good things they're doing and personally some of the things that Zola is doing. She's been with INDOT since 2022, recently was promoted to lead resource development manager, which is fantastic. And in that new role, she is leading supportive services toward more intentional community relationships to better support the DBE community. So really great connections that Zola is fostering, and she's going to give you some great information today.
All right. Hi, everybody. How we doing? Good. Okay, so first we got some Revive I-70 goal information. So as you can see here, our contract 1 goals are 7% for DBE, 3.9 for minority workforce, 6.9 for women workforce. Contract 2, we got 10% for DBE, 3.9 for minority workforce, and 6.9 for women workforce. Contract 3, we don't know yet, but when we know, you will know. Another important thing, if you are looking to make sure you're reaching your DBE goals, our DBE directory is a great resource on our website. It's updated automatically, so as soon as we get a new approved applicant, it will be in that directory instantaneously. So make sure you check that out. We also already talked about DBE activities. If you are a DBE, make sure you take a picture of this. If you should be a DBE, make sure you're doing one of these things. All right, so a little bit about Equity Initiative Services. Our mission is to provide opportunities to underrepresented people and businesses through education, certification, and workforce development. We have about 4 main ways that we do this. So the first is through our DBE certification. We also have supportive services, so that's myself and my employee, Kale. He just joined us. Hi, Kale. We also do external workforce programming, so making sure that underrepresented people are working in the construction field. And then we also do inclusion and belonging internally and externally. A little bit about our DBE certification. We got 3 takeaways for you today. The first is that we are really focused on supporting people who are socially and economically disadvantaged. So for our certification, this typically means people of color and women. If you're not a person of color or women, you're also welcome to apply. You'll just have to submit a personal narrative. One thing that separates us from other certifications is that economic piece as well. I like to say essentially we can't certify millionaires. Which usually we don't have a problem with that rule. So unlike other certifications, we do look at financials, and we're making sure that those businesses are under the Small Business Association guidelines. In addition, we are the sole certifier for Indiana's DBE program. In other states, there might be a couple different ones, but here it's just us, and we love that. And then also our application is a fully online process. We do have people available to help you with online applications if you need that assistance, but we are very proud of our online application. We're also in the process of redoing that, so hopefully in the next couple years you can see all the fun things that we're doing with it. So a little bit more about supportive services. That's my goal directly. We do this through education, resources, and support. So I'm going to give a few examples of how we go about that today. So with education, we primarily work with our partner Construction Estimating Institute. This is also known as CEI if you ever get our emails. So with them, we work to have our business development program. This is a program that really supports our business owners and making sure they know the foundations of how to run their business. We're also looking at any difficult things that they're struggling with and just providing educational opportunities for those. These typically last about a couple weeks, and we're really trying to be intentional with this process. We also have our 30-minute power sessions. So these are more of I got some extra time, I want to keep my skills sharp. It's great for people who are working constantly because it's not a full-time commitment like that business development program. So they can come in, learn something, and then get back to work. We also serve as an informational conduit to assist DBEs. So making sure that we know what's happening so we can help them with their specific questions. Because we know our DBEs are working primarily and they don't have the time to do all the research. So we really want to make sure we're saving them some time. Which comes to our resources. We have tons of resources and guides available on our website, and our goal is to really make sure that DBEs know that they're not alone in this process. So again, our focus is on how can we make sure that our DBEs are getting things done as efficiently as possible. So that includes having our instructional guides for the application. We're maintaining our website. We're actually updating our website right now, so look out for that as well. Last year, we implemented our bid matching system, so this organizes all of the bids available into different work types, so our DBEs don't have to spend that time combing through every single bid. We've also updated our hauler orientation, and we have a new DBE seal. So that's just going to be used as a marketing tool for DBEs, and if you are a DBE, come talk to us, so we make sure you get that. Then lastly, with support, so we partner with our other agencies such as the Federal Aviation Agency and the Federal Transit Agency, making sure that we're aware of those opportunities for our DBE community. We're also just making sure that we're in the know of all these projects. So again, our DBEs know what's going on, what opportunities exist for them, and we provide one-on-one support for our business owners. So if they need help with doing their no change affidavit, we're going to help that. If they need to figure out where they need to learn how to do bids, we will also provide them with the resource so they're really equipped to be competitive in this market. So that is all I got, real short and sweet, but
Beautiful.
ask a question?
Fantastic.
Thank you.
So Zola and her team are a fantastic resource. If you are a DBE or if you want to be a certified DBE, if you're here today, if you haven't talked to Zola yet, she's sticking around until we wrap at 2:30. Find her and talk to her because this is a great opportunity to get the assistance that you need. So another key item, DBEs, very, very important stuff. Good information from Zola. Workforce development. We all know that's a key issue today as well. That's why we have Matthew here today. Matthew Nance is with the Indiana Construction Roundtable Foundation, and he's going to be talking a lot more about workforce development. The Indiana Construction Roundtable Foundation addresses workforce shortages by providing entry-level construction training, assisting that K through 12 education with classroom materials, promoting careers in construction, starting the conversation early. That's when you get kids. They are really thinking young what they're going to wind up doing with their life. Matthew's there to help. He serves as the Roundtable's director and gets the opportunity to lead their adult and youth programs. And Matthew says the best part of his day is just supporting his team and then hearing about those successes. So when a student comes in and says, hey, I have a job in construction now, that's good stuff. He likes to hear that. When you have an adult learner who's talking about a new opportunity, new job, new gig, these are the things that Matthew likes to hear about and we all like to hear about. So he's going to focus in more on what the Indiana Construction Roundtable is doing and what you guys need to know.
Thank you much. Good afternoon. Thank you all for having me. Appreciate the introduction. Thanks so much. Anybody familiar with the Indiana Construction Roundtable Foundation? Heard it, seen it? A couple of folks, great. Who's familiar with ICI and Eric Fisher? More head shakes, yep. Eric Fisher and I, great friends. We do a lot of the same stuff, right? We're in the space where we're trying to connect youth and adult workers to construction. So that's what I'm going to talk about today, just giving you a little bit of context. We do a lot of the same stuff. I'll try to actually make it very applicable to here in Wayne County too, here in just a few minutes. So as you heard us say, we have two different program lines. The youth side, that's a marketing awareness campaign. We let kids know that going into construction is still an opportunity for them. I'm often that guy at a career fair telling a kid, you don't have to go to college. Yes, that's still what we're combating on a regular basis, is saying that's a pathway that's very valuable, very lucrative, and is still out there, right? We got to switch that narrative over time. We're working on it. On the adult side, we provide actual training. We do NCCER core curriculum, NCCER heavy highway, skid steer, ATSSA flag training. We get them ready to be out on the job site with you. Then we work alongside the unions as well to get them into that pathway if that's what you require, depending on which hiring method you use. So a little bit about us, mission, vision. Basically, we want everybody to know that there is a career for them in construction if that's what makes sense to them. Our board was founded in 2015 as an opportunity, as a solve for the industry. Owners were telling us we need stuff built faster. Subcontractors were telling us we can't get stuff built faster. We don't have the people. we said, let's go find the people. And so we're funded through some different opportunities. The state, INDOT is a partnership of ours, and then we've got a board of educators. But what we do, again, on the youth side, we go out into classrooms, we go to career fairs, we tell the story. I'm the son of a plumber, so I have a little bit of a story of spending days on the box truck, watching my dad do his work, but it's much better when it's a story from you all. Right, so we tag in you all, we say, go to this career fair, go talk to these students, help them understand what it looks like on a day-to-day basis. On the adult side, we train them in all those different ways you see up there. We have specifically roads training that we offer. We also go into prisons, we offer it in Spanish, and then we have a boot camp model, which is actually over 3 weeks. We try to get them ready for as much economic mobility as soon as possible. On the youth side, this is a few different ways that we do it. We try to reach out to everybody in their lives because this is what matters, right? All their different spheres of influence. We're trying to figure out how to get on TikTok. If anybody's got a secret, let me know, but I don't know. We're trying to get there. This is, again, more of what we do. Our career quiz is one of the most fun things. It's a great opportunity for somebody to go out there and learn about all the different jobs that exist. They might drive on your construction sites all day, every day with their families or on their own and never think about operating that big piece of machinery or never think about what that person's doing right next to them who's trying to pave that road, trying to build that bridge, etc. Our career quiz is inclusive of all of those opportunities, not just swinging a hammer or turning a wrench, but what all exists in construction. We do all that other stuff there. I'm not going to walk through much of it other than the CAT simulator. This was an opportunity provided to us by INDOT. So we have a simulator that we take. We let schools rent it out. It's free, but we let schools use it for a couple weeks at a time in their classroom so they can get a feel of what it's like to be on a skid steer. There's a couple different options alongside of it too, but it's a fun way for students to get a firsthand virtual experience into the industry. On the adult side, if you don't know anything about core curriculum, this is what it is. So it talks about all the different things that we do to help adult learners get ready. And then we also do OSHA 10 and roads, which I think's, okay. Roads, the other piece of it, like I said before, we add in skid steer and flagging as well as 2 additional certifications. The other cool thing that we've done recently with INDOT and that we'll talk with you all, we'll talk with Wayne County more, we just took our curriculum, all of our stuff down to Evansville for the ORX project. So we went to them. We said, this is the area of town where this is going to be happening, or the area of the state, excuse me, where this is going to be happening. Let's train the people because they're going to do this work. So after this, we'll follow up with you all as contractors. We'll see what interest you all might have to bring this either to your shop. We'll see what Ivy Tech's interest is. We'll see how we can get out here so that we have this opportunity to train the folks in this community to improve their own community. That means a lot to us along the way. That's all this is going to say. Talk about being an ambassador. Again, this will be the reach out to you as contractors. It's a really great opportunity for your young, new employees. So you got an onboarding process that you want to tell them, go tell your story in the industry, make it become an ambassador with us. Make them however you want to make that happen. And then roads. Again, this is something you'll hear more about. You might very well hear soon about there being a class out here on the east side of the state and us making this happen. Once we do that, we'll then tag you guys all back in to say, hey, we've got the class, we've got these folks. Will you come tell them what the job's going to look like, and will you come interview them? Because you know they're coming to the table already with training and certifications. Have them go out on your job site. Again, we'll work in the middle ground on the union piece of it. You don't have to worry about that. We'll play that game. We're union or labor neutral, as we call it. So we know that it's going to take everybody. So if you're thinking to yourself right now, well, we just use the union route, it still applies. We're still on board. We very much understand that's the nature of the horizontal industry here in Indiana. That's my contact information. If you ever need anything from me, you want to reach out directly, I'm on all the lists that they're sharing out today, but then you'll hear some follow-up from me or my colleague McCoy here in the next couple of weeks. Questions? Cool. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it, Matthew. Thank you. Okay, so now this is to the point where we have wrapped up. We've shared a lot of good information, good stuff from Matthew too. We have to have the workers to deliver these projects. So now we want to hear from the folks here today. It's not a must, but if you want to, this is just a great networking opportunity to let us know who you are, what you do, what you hope to do on the project. If you'd like to do that, please just kind of queue up, line up here by this mic over here, give us your short elevator speech. It can be a DBE, it doesn't have to be a DBE. Anybody at all who wants to introduce themselves or the firm that they are working for, take advantage of the opportunity. I don't twist arms, so it's not a must. If nobody wants to take advantage of that opportunity, that's fine, but you have a room full of people who are interested in building this project, so if you have services you offer, you might want to let people know about it. I'm just saying. No intros, no firms, no hands raised. Please, come on down. You're the first contestant. On. All good. This mic over here is already on, so if anybody who wants to make an intro, and if more people decide they want to as we go along, that's more than fine.
I was going to stand right where I was, but I will come down here. I'm Danae with DWD. Some of you I've met and worked with you. We are a hauling company. We're a milling subcontractor and potentially venturing into some crushing and excavating as well. So that's us. Love to send you pricing for this project. If there's any questions, I have cards. Would love to meet most of you. Thank you.
And that's the way it's done. Fantastic. Excellent job. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to break the ice, but she did it. So I know there's got to be more people wanting to do this. But I'm Rick Smith. I'm with Road Safe Traffic Systems. We specialize in traffic control and pavement markings throughout the whole state. We do sort of specialize in design build projects. We kind of help with the design, not necessarily with the information that you provide us, but with our expertise to marry up with your designs. We feel like we have a great asset with that bidding process. So keep us in mind. Road Safe covers the whole state of Indiana. We're in the Indianapolis area. We have about 100 employees in the Indianapolis area that service this project in this area. So appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Tony Dye. I work with High Star Traffic, formerly known as TCS. Many of you guys know that. We specialize traffic control, pavement markings, snow plowable, raised pavement markers throughout the entire state of Indiana. We will be working on Contract 1, part of the I-70 project, and we're happy to work with whomever would like to work with on the Contract 2 portion of the project for the design build. We would love to speak to anyone who is going to be performing the design build on this. So if you guys would like my contact information, I'll be sitting up front. Please let me know. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Tony. Appreciate it.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kyle Bibbs. I'm the owner of Bibbs Hauling, LLC, based out of Indianapolis, Indiana. Been in business for about 20 years. We travel across the state to work with a lot of you guys on highway projects, county roads, city streets. We are definitely interested in this project. Would love to send you quotes. And if we could just get a piece of the action, that's all we're looking for. We would take it all, but if we can get a piece, we would love that. Thanks a lot.
Perfect. Appreciate it. Anybody else? Yeah. See, it's not so bad once it starts rolling. It all makes sense.
Hello, my name is Laura Offit. I am the founder and owner of DLO Services. I am a remote administrative services and virtual assistant. I also am a certified third-party administrator for those of you that have to do the clearinghouse. I also do DOT and non-DOT drug testing. So if anyone needs any services, I am on the registration sheet. So my name, again, Laura Offit, DLO Services. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Anybody else? Perfect. And she mentioned too, you do have the contact sheet, so you can just make face-to-face contact, talk to people. It's nice to do. Talk to folks who you heard from today if you have any interest in learning more about their services. You have the contact sheet. We'll try to do a final brush of that. Sometimes we have people who show up that aren't registered a little late, we didn't catch, something might be wrong. So we'll push out a final sheet on that. If anybody's missing, just stop by, let Barry know on your way out. We'll make sure that we get you added to the contact list that is going to live on the website. All of those materials will be there. Okay, we're moving back out in that direction. direction by the boards and everything. If you have questions that came up, just conversations you want to have, we'll be out there for about another 20 minutes. So we'll be there until 2:30. If you need extra handouts, grab those. If you want the little nice hard hats, do that as well. Here's your QR code that will take you to the website. Last thing I will say about the website. If you go there today, it doesn't exactly mirror everything you heard today. When we built the website, we didn't have all of the details, information, didn't know about project delivery. We're in the process of updating all of that information. Those updates are going to pop up there pretty quickly, and it's going to right-size some of that messaging, let you know as we have dialed in on improvements for these contracts. So that's going to be coming soon as well. All right, everybody, appreciate your time. Have a great afternoon, and thanks for joining us.